and have you sign a waiver.
Hey guys, this video is going to be a little bit different. It's going to be my review on the food challenge and then just my overall experience with the restaurant. I recently dined at the Marshall Steakhouse in Holly Springs, Mississippi to take on their 72-ounce steak challenge. This restaurant just opened up a few months ago and there had been only one previous winner of the challenge. So to start out with, the other member of my party, she ordered a 7-ounce steak, and she said she really liked her steak a lot, and that it was nice and juicy and cooked well. However, as far as my 72-ounce steak goes, it was dry, tough, and parts of the steak were cooked medium rare, but the outer steak was more so cooked medium to medium well. I unfortunately lost this food challenge, which sucked because it was a steak challenge. So as you guys can guess, it was an expensive and pricey challenge to lose. However, that was the least of my concern about paying the money. I just had an overall bad experience with this restaurant. I ended up telling the manager that after I failed the food challenge that I have completed several other steak challenges around the United States and had no issues defeating them whatsoever. They ranged in size from 72 ounce to 78 ounce. So that was one part that I was pretty upset about, because obviously you go into a food challenge thinking that you're going to win. However, this steak was it was cooked terribly. It was very chewy. I had to cut it up I started out cutting it up into normal size pieces, how I would cut it during a steak challenge, how I did with previous steak challenges I've done. However, this steak, like I said, it was really tough, so I ended up having to cut these chunks of steak into even smaller pieces. And even by cutting them into smaller pieces, they were still very difficult to get down. I had to drink quite a bit of water to help get the steak down. So, yeah, I just discussed with the manager about how I was displeased with my steak and how tough it was, and how I just wasn't happy overall with the steak. And I was hoping that would issue maybe some type of refund or discount, but all that the manager simply said was okay, and then I paid my bill and left. So I reached out to the owner of the steakhouse, and let him know how my overall dining experience was and what I thought of the steak challenge. And he just, I don't know, I'm not really going to get into that story, but he essentially said that he can't refund my credit card, but he'll mail me reimbursement for the steak. So we'll see if that money actually ever arrives or not. And I think the owner thought I was probably just butthurt because I had to, shell out like $95 for this steak. And that wasn't, like I said, the money wasn't an issue. It was a terrible steak, and my experience at the steakhouse, both my other member of my party, we just had a bad experience, and I'll talk to you guys more about that right now. So, first of all, my guest ordered a salad, and she noticed a fly in it. So that wasn't cool. Luckily, the restaurant didn't charge her there was an upcharge for a salad. Like, she was supposed to get mashed potatoes with her meal, and she asked for a side salad, and there was an upcharge for that, which was just ridiculous, but whatever. She also said her green beans were cold, and they maybe gave her like 4 or 5 green beans, so the portion of green beans was pretty small. And she also said there were flies all over the women's restroom, both alive and dead. Also, you guys can't really see this during the video, but I was constantly swatting flies and like shooing them away so they didn't touch my meal while I was eating it. So I don't know why there's so many flies in there, but that wasn't fun to deal with. In addition, the men's restroom was out of soap, so that was kind of gross. Hopefully the workers were washing their hands. We ended up leaving the restaurant, and there was an older couple that I think they hadn't dined at the restaurant before. They had just pulled into the parking lot, and they asked us how our overall experience was with the steakhouse. So we were perfectly blunt with them, upfront and honest, telling them about our experience. And they said thank you, and they said that they were pretty excited about this steakhouse because it's a gorgeous building from the outside, and it's been getting lots of traffic just because it's such a new restaurant. However, they ended up choosing not to dine there. They exited the parking lot and turned back onto the highway. So I guess the overall message was, like, I know I failed this steak challenge, but it was ridiculously tough, and the steak was super chewy, and I know my teeth aren't as sharp as a great white shark, unfortunately, so that didn't help matters whatsoever. And if any other competitive eaters, people that do food challenges, are ever in the Mississippi area, I would definitely not suggest doing this food challenge, just because you'll see at the end of this video the amount of steak I had left, for which was supposed to be a 72-ounce steak, and like I didn't weigh the steak, so I don't know if it was 100% accurate or whatever. However, if it was a 72-ounce steak, or around 4.5 pounds, I would have guessed by the amount of meat that was left on my plate was around a pound total. So that's pretty pathetic that in an hour's time frame I only ate 3.5 pounds of steak, which, whatever, it was tough, chewy. Here are the pictures now. So thank you guys for watching.